I keep telling myself the earlier I do these, the better they're gonna be in terms of memory. But I keep putting it off and off even further to the point where I'm, no joke, recording this more than 24 hours after the show I am reviewing ended. So, yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, welcome to the Independence Day 2017 edition of Smackdown Live, or rather, my review of it. Um, this was a pretty average episode, if I'm being honest. I was gonna say pretty good. I think I just want to say that any episode of SmackDown that I don't hate is pretty good. I think I just want to say that instinctually. But to be fair, there wasn't anything really special about it. To be fair, um, so yeah. Anyway, the show begins with a bit basically explaining to everyone, like it's today we celebrate our Independence Day and we celebrate the freedoms we got from our independence from the British colonies and their tea. And then they just moved on to saying like, oh, this is gonna be a great episode of SmackDown here in America, and we're gonna we're not gonna get hype, we're gonna stay hype, and then they just started like all these puns based around some of the wrestlers they have on SmackDown, and I'm just like, please stop, just 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 stop, please. And the show begins with Cena coming out, and I mean, maybe WWE did something like the crowd mics to make it seem like Cena was getting a more positive reaction than he was. But the crowd seemed to be pretty positive towards Cena at this point. So, yeah, I mean, and to be fair, Cena has gotten better over the past couple years, so yeah, I'd say he deserves it. Cena goes on to explain why the 4th of July is so important. And then he addresses his free agent status. He says that the reason he's going as a free agent, he's not signing with Raw or SmackDown, is because he, I'm not sure if like he's saying that he believes this, but at this point, I mean, he's basically saying like, just in case I only have a few years left in me, I don't want to be limited by. I do not want this brand split to limit who I can go against. I want to go up against anyone, no matter what brand they're on. So, he says that he's going to go out in a blaze of glory, and and basically he ends it by teasing a future match with Roman Reigns, to which all I can say is, do not mention his name here, Cena. We watch SmackDown to avoid that man. Um, then Rusev comes down to the ring, and he's basically pissed over the fact that he has been gone from television since WrestleMania, or rather, since he got drafted to SmackDown. And he announced that he would be returning on the 4th of July episode of SmackDown, where Cena was going to be returning there as well. And Cena got all these like commercials and stuff about how he was returning to the WWE on the 4th of July episode of SmackDown, and nothing for Rusev. And he also called Cena a sellout. I probably forgot about that area. Cena makes a joke about Rusev being a foreigner by saying he's from Bulge area. Let me say that again. Bulge area. Cena, you may be getting better as a wrestler, but you have not improved at all on the mic. Like, at all. And I think during the other promo, Rusev said that America was a joke, And Cena said, well, if America is a joke, every joke has a punchline, so why don't you come down here and we can make that happen, or something like that. And Cena, the American, threatens Rusev, the foreigner, with violence. Very, very American, Cena. No, no, seriously, that is very American, actually. Unfortunately, that is true. We do that a lot. Unfortunately. Uh, I'd like to apologize on behalf of my country for that. Um, Rusev talks about Independence Day, about how in Bulgaria they celebrate their Independence Day with like feats of strength and showing everyone how strong they are, whereas Americans celebrate it by just eating hamburgers and hot dogs. And yes, yes, we do. And this actually got cheers from the crowd because that is the thing about being an American. We know we're not perfect. I mean, we know that we are aware of many of our flaws. And quite frankly, we don't care. We just don't care. In fact, some of us, including myself, actually embrace some of those weaknesses. Like, yeah, the fact that like we are the fattest country on the planet, and damn proud of it. um, the next bit of the promo is basically Cena talking about America, freedom, freedom, America, freedom, freedom. And then we go all Vince Russo, and then Cena goes all Vince Russo on us and decides to challenge Rusev to technically a flag match. It's a pole match. Like, you got... I'm surprised any promotion still does flag matches, considering the fact... Well, flag matches? No, pole matches, considering the fact that Russo basically ruined them on Nitro. He essentially just ruined them forever. Rusev said that he accepts Cena's challenge to a flag match, but not tonight. He said that that if they're going to have a match, it's going to be on his terms. And then they announce Naomi versus Lana for the SmackDown Women's Championship again, and they also talk about the New Day versus the Usos in a world's biggest, air quotes here, rap battle. And then we get a little backstage segment where Daniel Bryan says that Kevin Owens is very, very angry about the fact that both Chad Gable and AJ Styles, two guys who he had recently beat in singles competition, are in a match to declare the number one contender for the U.S. title. And so what Daniel does is he says, alright, AJ Styles versus Chad Gable, the winner goes on to the Battle Royal and the other one's left out. And that is the match we see when we come back from the commercial. This is a very, very good match. I mean, it's very clear from the offset that AJ Styles is going to win because AJ already has a rivalry with Owens that can still go a little further, whereas Gable barely has anything. And plus, AJ is just the bigger name. It doesn't make any sense for Gable to come out the winner on this one. It just doesn't. But I will give AJ Styles this. He made Chad Gable look like $1,000,000. And there was if you're a fan of technical wrestling, you gotta see this match, because this match had a lot of great technical wrestling in it. There's one spot in the match towards the end where Styles has Gable set up for the Styles Clash, but Gable actually reverses it into an ankle lock. And he actually keeps his hold on him for like I think a minute and a half or something like that, like just rough estimate, until Styles reverses into a what is it? It's not a. I don't think it's called the calf crusher or something. Whatever. Yeah, but the match does obviously end with Styles hitting Gable with the phenomenal forearm and 1, 2, 3 pin. And Styles goes on to the main event of the night, where he will compete in the Independence Day Battle Royal to determine the number one contender to the U.S. title, whereas Gable will not. Styles shakes Gable's hand. Styles just put Gable over. To be honest, when this feud between Styles and Owens is over, if Owens is still the champion, I could perfectly see Gable going up against Owens like immediately afterwards, and I would definitely believe him as U.S. champ. I would. My only real complaint is that when the match started, they said that Jason Jordan was with him. I mean, implying that he was at ringside, which no, he wasn't. Yes, Jason Jordan is his tag team partner, but Jason Jordan is not with him. Why is the ring announcer implying that Jason Jordan's out here when he's not? Like, what is the point of that? After that, we have a Hype Bro segment where we see Mojo Rawley just kind of down. I'm just gonna say he's down, and it seemed like like they're teasing that he's not really happy with the situation with Zack Ryder at the moment. So, like maybe he's thinking, like this tag team with Ryder, it's not really working out. Like maybe I should try something else. However, then Zack Ryder comes in and says that he got both of them spots in the Independence Day Battle Royal in the main event. Mojo's like, oh, dude, you made a mistake because you're looking at the winner of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal right here, the biggest Battle Royal of the year so far. Like, I'm gonna... This is a shoo-in, man. And then Zack Ryder just kind of leaves, and Mojo is still kind of down. Like, it seems like he's second guessing his tag team with Ryder, which, I mean, if it's going to lead to a split up, okay, that could work. I could actually kind of see Mojo as a singles competitor, as well as I definitely can see Ryder as a singles competitor. He's won singles gold. I just hope that they hold off on it until I'd say around Survivor Series, because doing it right now, like right after the Enzo and Cash breakup, which even though I haven't been watching Raw, I do know that happened. It just wouldn't. I just don't think it would be all that good. Like like right after that breakup. Next, Carmella and Ellsworth come. Carmella and Ellsworth come down to the ring. And Ellsworth's like, I am canceling Independence Day so we can celebrate Carmella winning Money in the Bank ladder match. Legit this time. And Carmella basically looks around like, you should all see the looks on your faces right now, thinking that I was going to lose that match. And I'm like, really? That was a week ago. Even if we are talking as if wrestling were real, the shock of that would have definitely worn off by now. Like, people would have just accepted it, whether they liked it or not. And let me just say, she didn't say, oh, you should have seen your faces, like she was talking about last week. No, she was talking about present right now. She trash talks a little bit more. Then Naomi comes down to the ring, and she basically says, like, yeah, you got like a guaranteed shot at my women's championship whenever you want, but I'm not afraid of that. Like, you can bring it on anytime I want. I will beat you. And then she goes on to talk about Ellsworth, and she says, "But someone else has some things he'd like to say as well." And then Daniel Bryan comes down to the ring, and essentially what he does is he bars Ellsworth from the arena, finds him. I think it was $10,000. I'm pretty sure it was $10,000, and then suspends him without pay for 30 days, and says that if Ellsworth breaks any of those rules, Carmella will be stripped of the Women's Money in the Bank briefcase. So, yeah. That's a thing. Carmella just lost her, essentially, she lost a core component of the cowardly heel persona, which is the extra hand. After that, we cut to commercial, and when we come back, it is Naomi versus Lana for the SmackDown Women's Championship again. And if you thought the match they had last week was quick, oh boy, this is you had not seen nothing yet. Like, I have a note here that just reads, "Was that even 10 seconds?" Like, this was a short match. Like, fucking, why? Why do you have to bury Lana? What did she do? Did she secretly propose to another superstar that she was supposed to be pissed with or something? Did she do that again? Like, why are you burying her? What the? Oh, right. After the match, there's a backstage interview with Nakamura, which is quickly interrupted by Baron Corbin just attacking him with the Money in the Bank briefcase. But after a while, Nakamura gets the upper hand and starts to fight back until the until the fight is broken up by security. After that, they officially announced that Cena will fight Rusev in a flag match at Battleground. After that, we have the, again, world's biggest air quotes here, rap battle between the Usos and the New Day. And here are some of the notes I have for this. Oh, okay. Before I start talking about this, what is with the posses both of these guys have? Like, that's the only. Okay, to the WWE's credit, the only rap battles I've ever seen are epic rap battles of history. I've never seen like any kind of rap battles outside of that, and I'm not exactly an expert on rap, so maybe, perhaps, rapping without a beat sounds just more like just random rhyming. But I think it's clear that in terms of overall quality, the Usos had won this. The the Usos are just better rappers than the New Day. That is just clear. Which makes their action just okay. Like, one of my notes reads, "This is not rapping. This is rhyming." Like, Biggie and Kofi, like, again, I'm no rap expert, and the only rap that I have heard has always had like a beat behind it or some kind of music. So maybe rap just kind of sounds like that when you don't have a beat to go along with it, but it just did not sound good at all. It just sounded like rhyming, like a normal promo, but you have to rhyme. And to the Usos' credit, they're trying. They're doing a far better job than the New Day when it comes to rapping. I mean, at points it actually did seem like they were straight up rapping instead of just rhyming. Like, they're trying at least. My next note is after round one, Usos are winning, and Kofi makes this one comment about how the Usos need to make like a red. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'm gonna say he said a red octagon. And to be fair, I don't remember if he said octagon or hexagon. It's entirely possible he said hexagon, but it's equally as possible that he said octagon. But I know the second time he said, I mean, he was referencing the shape of a stop sign. He said hexagon. The second time around, he definitely said hexagon. That I'm sure of. Which, if you said hexagon the first time, do you know your shapes, Kofi? Do you know your shapes? Because, for one thing, you're not very good at rapping. Like, you're rhyming alright, but not rapping. And, if I am correct in thinking that you confuse a hexagon with an octagon, then that rap just came off very, very bad. And this crowd, they were this is what leads me to believe that, I mean, it's entirely possible that when Cena came out earlier in the night, they did something to the crowd mics to make the reception he got seem more positive. Because, for one thing, yes, Cena has been getting better in the ring. And yes, people are starting to warm back up to him, but he will never, ever, ever live down the reputation he had before he started improving of just burying people left and right and being the guy who could never lose a match clean. Like, he's doing far better now, but he will never ever live that down, and he's always going to have his haters as a result. And the fact that they seem to be the crowd seemed to be chanting anything that Kofi was saying, like, oh yeah, like, oh my god, that was an amazing line there, just kind of leads me to believe that they were doing something with the audio to make it seem like the crowd was behind Kofi, because that was not good. It was not good at all. Then it's the Usos' turn again, and they make reference to the fact that Kofi Kingston used to be Jamaican, and he was first walking around with a Jamaican accent, and then he just kind of dropped it for no reason. Ow. I just kind of hurt myself a little bit. Because this is kind of an awkward setup I have. Maybe I'll like post a picture of my setup on Twitter so you guys can understand. The Usos won this. The Usos just proved that they're just better rappers than the New Day. It's clear that the Usos won this one, despite what happens later. And to Xavier Woods' credit, he is also trying to rap at the very least. Like, he's not just rhyming. I mean, he's not just doing like a standard promo where like the words rhyme. He is actually trying to rap. To his credit, I will give him that. I'm not sure if he succeeds because, again, not an expert on rap. I know the Usos were succeeding and at the very least rapping. But I gotta give Xavier for at least trying to rap. I gotta give him credit for that. I don't remember what line finished the freaking finished Xavier Woods rap, because the next line I have in my notes is, really, that's what did it? Because at this point we kind of knew that this was going to end with like the Usos just kind of not being able to take the insults that the New Day was giving out in their, again, world's biggest air quotes, raps, and just attack them, getting them disqualified, and proving that the New Day is just better at rap. Even though they're not. They're really not. And yeah, because here's the thing, they kind of had to disqualify the Usos, because it, if they let it go to the crowd would have said that the Usos won. I am fairly confident of that. Then we go to commercial, and when we come back, Titus is advertising 205 Live. And then we have Aiden English in the ring. And as he's singing, Orton comes down to the ring, and the first thing I just say is like, Aiden, run. Remember what happened last time. Run. And Aiden does not run because, like, to be fair, I mean, I understand that Aiden is, like, a cocky heel and, like, he wouldn't run, but at the same time, that's Randy Orton. Like he is levels above you in terms of story. Like, I mean, after what happened, I would just been like, all right, like, you don't have to attack me again. Like, I'm just leaving. I'm just leaving. But then I figure out why, and it's because there is an official match between the two, which is why he's not leaving the ring. And I'm like, wait, really? All right, okay. And one thing I will give Aiden English credit for, uh, he managed to do he managed to do something that I kind of liked. While Randy Orton is doing his entrance, and he's doing like the pose on the turnbuckle, Aiden gets on the microphone and he's like, "Are you finished?" He's just like, "Just get down from there and fucking get ready for the match." And then Aiden attacks Orton prior to the match. Match does not even start by the time we go back to commercial with the match windowed. And when the match does start, Orton can't even be asked to take off his hoodie. I mean, like, as soon as I figured this out and finished writing the note here, he just immediately takes it off. So, like, all right. But that really says something when a wrestler can't even be asked to take off their the casual clothes that they wear down to the ring before fighting you. That really says something. And in the end, Aiden English wins the match via disqualification after Orton attacks him with stairs. But it's okay because Orton, at the end of the day, gets all the heat or like momentum or whatever, because he gets the last laugh as he RKOs Aiden English in the middle of the ring, making it very clear that had Orton not attacked Aiden with the steps, that he would have won the match. So why? I mean, like, it's not like this segment is putting Aiden. I mean, it's not like Aiden winning this match via DQ is gonna do him any favors, unless he goes like the record books route. Like, the record books will forever show that I have a victory over Randy Orton. I demand more respect. So, like, that could be the start of, like, a slow push to the mid card for Aiden English, because right now he's just a jobber. After that, Jinder Mahal comes down to the ramp. Jinder talks about how like all you Americans, you're all prejudiced and you're all ignorant and you're all too prejudiced and ignorant to realize just how great of a wrestler I am. And he starts talking about racism again. And then, as Jinder is about to start speaking to his people, Orton interrupts and says, "No, no, 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 no. See, I've been listening to you for so long. The reason nobody here likes you isn't because of your skin color or your accent or anything like that. It's because you're a jackass, which I guess that's the closest thing we can get to a really scathing promo in PG WWE. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have no problem with WWE being TV PG. I mean, it can work. I mean, PG wrestling can really work. I've seen it happen both in WWE and in NXT. It can work. It's not that hard to make PG wrestling work. But at the same time, I just kind of wish that the wrestlers every now and then could be allowed to give like a really good swear out. Like just, I mean, yeah, you'd have to censor it, but so what? Like, who cares? Really, who cares? Like, well, the parents care, and I'm like, you're censoring it. Like one friggin' swear word. If one swear word changes the ratings so much that, well, then again, they have sponsors, and sponsors are not going to be happy with that. But then again, they had zero problem with what JBL did to Mauro Ranallo, so why do you think they have a problem with someone dropping an F bomb? Then we got the commercial, and when we come back, I actually missed like the first minute or so of this. I just see Tyler in drag doing an interview with Ty Dillinger, and one thing I didn't even notice was Fandango was doing something dressed as a construction worker or something behind him. He's like, "What is your strategy for the battle royal tonight?" And this segment is just hilarious, and he basically is just like, "Well, I'm gonna try to keep. I'm gonna stay away from the ropes, try and stay in the middle of the ring, and I'm only gonna try to eliminate people if I can do it without that much effort." this, this, this I don't have much to say about this promo other than it's just funny. It's just really, really funny. Breezango is always hilarious. After that, we have Renee interviewing Mike and Maria again, and they have an interview for, I'd say, like a minute or two before the camera just kind of cuts over to, just kind of pans over to Sami Zayn and is just like, "Oh, no, 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 don't mind me." And he does this like really long-winded like apology, and he essentially ruins a romantic moment for Mike and Maria before he has to go down to the ring. And something tells me that I I I can't believe I didn't realize this until just now, because it seems very freaking obvious. But it seems like they're leading up to a feud between Kurt Hawkins and and Sami Zayn. I don't know why I didn't see it before, but I see it now, because Sami isn't really doing anything right now, and you gotta do something with Mike and Maria eventually in the ring. You gotta do something with them eventually. You can't just have them be like, "Love will conquer all," day in and day out, without them ever setting foot in the ring. And then, okay, now we have the main event, which is the Independence Day Battle Royal. Everyone comes down to the ring, and oh, there's Jason Jordan. Like, we were looking for you in the first match. Where were you? And one thing I tried to do here was I actually pulled out my iPod, started the stopwatch roughly around the time the bell rang, and I was trying to keep track of all the eliminations, and I was going to have them here on this list, but then there was a really big mistake that WWE made, and I can't. What I will never understand why they do this for the main. Why they do this for just random matches, but they will not do this for the main event. And that's the windowed match. Again, what they've been doing as of late is that they've been having matches basically take place in this small little corner in the screen while the commercials are running. There's no audio from the actual match, but you can still see the match. And that's brilliant. I love that. But for whatever reason, they will refuse to do it for the main event, even though the main event is the one match where it makes sense to do that. Why? Like, why? Why? It is pointless. One of the notes I have here is pretty slow. Ziggler's out after 1 minute 26 seconds roughly. Excuse me. And then we cut to commercial, and when we come back, it looks like the Colognes and Jason Jordan were eliminated during the commercial. And I just have this note here. I'm gonna stop calling the elimination times because it was just taking way too much attention away from the match, and in like every time I was about to start writing down, like, okay, this guy was eliminated here, this guy was eliminated here, there's a new note that I had to write down. At one point in the match, Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley, they have a little confrontation with each other, even though it makes no sense for them to do that at this point. Like, the idea of their one thing I neglected to mention during the Hype Bros segment was that they seem to have a bit of a strategy, like, okay, like, we'll take care of everyone else, and then when it's just you and me, we'll take care of it, and it won't be personal. It's just business. And they did do this, but they didn't wait until they were the last two remaining wrestlers. Like, there were still like 5 other wrestlers still in the match. Why are you going after each other now? Just because they're like, just because they're like lying down next to the bottom rope doesn't mean they're eliminated. Like, you guys should really hold that off for a little bit. But no, they decide to go after each other, and Mojo Rawley winds up eliminating Ryder. And then after Ryder is eliminated, Mojo and Ryder just have like this little stare down where I was like, all right, like, respect, you eliminated me, good job, man. And then Mojo turns around into, I believe, a haluva kick from Sami Zayn and gets himself eliminated. And at this point, it's just Sami Zayn, Ty Dillinger, and AJ Styles. And Dillinger just gets a whole lot of offense in. And eventually he gets cocky and tries to eliminate both Sami and Styles. And when he fails, basically what happens is that he lifts both of them over the top rope, and they both just barely manage to have their feet avoid touching the floor. So they're still in the match, and when Ty realizes, he tries just kind of punching them to like make them lose their grip, just kind of one at a time. It doesn't work. And eventually Sami eliminates Ty Dillinger. Now it's just Sami Zayn and AJ Styles. At one point, Sami almost eliminates himself by trying to haluva kick AJ out of the ring. AJ dodges it, and the momentum carries him over the top rope, but he manages to hang on. Sami Zayn then gets back in the ring and tries to. Well, actually, there's some other stuff, like AJ trying to take advantage of the fact that Sami basically threw himself over the top rope, essentially. Now he just has to knock him down to the floor. But eventually Sami gets back in the ring, and Sami tries to suplex Styles out of the ring. That doesn't really work. But eventually Styles manages to Pele kicks Sammy to eliminate him. AJ Styles wins, and right after he is declared the winner, Kevin Owens comes in and attacks AJ. And then like all these referees like just get in the ring. They're just like, no, 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 leave Styles alone. No, 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 don't do that. No, they're powerless. These 6 men are powerless to stop Kevin Owens because they've only been trained to wave their hands and go, no, no, don't do that. That is the one joke from. Well, not the one joke. There are plenty of jokes from the Mark Remark that I just freaking love, but there's. I think that's the one that I quote most of all. Just no, no, don't do that. So they're powerless to stop him. Eventually, Kevin Owens gives AJ a bit of a break because of the referees going, no, no, don't do that. But eventually, when he tries to go back on offense, Styles fights back, causing Owens to retreat before AJ can get like a really good move in on him. But he leaves the belt in the ring. And Styles picks up the belt and then poses with it. And that's how we end the show. Again, a decent show. Nothing offensively bad. Nothing special. Actually, now that I think about that one, again, world's biggest air quotes, rap battle wasn't all that good. The Usos managed to save it a bit. Well, the Usos and Xavier, but Big E and Kofi should just stop rapping. They should just stop rapping immediately. But it wasn't like the worst thing I've ever seen. And everything else that happened in the episode, again, it wasn't amazing, but it wasn't bad either. It was just kind of okay. You know, like, cool. I just kind of wish that they didn't bury Lana. Like, I mean, I understand that you can't have her winning the title, but she taps out in less than 10 seconds into the match. Really? Well, anyway, that was my review of the 4th of July 2017 edition of Smackdown Live. And I think, let me check the calendar on my computer. Yes, I will see you hopefully on Monday, assuming I don't procrastinate too much like I did with this episode. To bring you my review of Great Balls of Fire. Yes, even though I do not cover Raw, I will be covering Raw pay-per-views. So, yeah, I'll see you guys for Great Balls of Fire. Balls. Testicles. And Vince McMahon needing to basically show off the fact that he has the Michael Bay approach to expressing his masculinity. Just put testicles on something.